If you had to say one was worse than the other, who would you say?
If I had to say, I'd say to a certain degree, just from what I've watched and seen, I've probably seen more male fighters lose their temper than female.
Okay. Females are scarier when they lose their anger.
They are. They are. I'm actually quite glad my wife's not here to hear that now, but they definitely are.
Nah, don't worry, my partner's not in as well. I get away with that one.
Yeah.
So looking back at this, you've also got the age. So you've mentioned earlier on about the difference between when you were younger to now.
Mm-hmm.
So does your age have an impact on your performance in the way that you facilitate anger?
Definitely. I would say definitely. I'd say as a teenager, you're not in a position or a level of maturity to be able to control it. Whereas as you get older and more experienced, you then learn how to control that anger and use it to your benefit rather than just being wild.
If we were going to look at it, say, I don't know, a first degree black belt at 12 versus a first degree black belt at 40,
mm-hmm.
Do you think, what age do you think are going to cope with and use their anger better?
I'd definitely say the 40-year-old.
Even though they're both at the same level?
Even though they're both the same belt, being able to control your emotions, I would say definitely comes with life experience and maturity. So I would definitely say, even at the same level, skill level, someone older would be better at controlling their anger than someone younger.
Perfect. And you touched a little bit there on experience. So what impact do you think experience has in the way that you use anger? So we'll look at yourself first. The way you use anger, what impact does your experience have?
I'd say the experience is a big difference. I know, well, I'll tell you a story, right, that kind of answers that question. When I was, I think I was 15 or I'd just turned 16, I was sparring with Master Leckie, and he was deliberately trying to rile me up, right? And it was in the run up to a competition, and in my head at 16, I thought someone shouted, I think it was Simon McGreekin who was timekeeping, and shouted last 10 seconds. And I thought in my head, I've got him here. He's been pissing me off for the full fight, which Master Leckie used to deliberately do to me to try and break my temper so I could learn to control it. And I flew at him in the last 10 seconds, and he stepped out the way and knocked me clean out. He threw a straight left punch that I ran onto, and I was out for about 30 seconds on the deck. And an experience like that, I know now if I sparred him, I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't do that. I've learned from that using your aggression with a bit more thought and a bit more savvy is going to work better for you. And that's just through experience.
So with experience, you've learned that it will enable you to control your anger and use it effectively.
Yes. Definitely.
Rather than being essentially flat on your back.
Being wild and getting knocked out by your instructor.
I'm pretty sure that'd be frowned upon these days.
That definitely would be. The funny thing is, actually, my parents were in the hall watching. And when he knocked me out, my dad shouted, "What a punch!" and just left me lying there. Different times.
Well, at least your parents approve of a decent punch.
That's it.
So in general then, in overall, in your opinion, does anger help or hinder performance, and why?
See, that's a tough question because it depends on the level of anger. Am I okay to answer it that way?
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be a definite yes or no. I'd say to an extent, anger does help. You have to have a level of controlled aggression when you're fighting or any competition. I think that comes hand in hand with wanting to win. So I think you can use anger as a really good drive. towards your goals. But at the same time, if you let it control you and let your emotions control you completely, then it'll totally hinder your performance. So I would say, all in all, you do need a level of anger there. Yes.
Okay. So part of this study is a 3-part study that I'm doing as part of my PhD. I'm trying to find out what the optimum level of anger is.
Okay.
For a high performance taekwondo, i.e. minimum black belt and above.
Okay.
So I kind of understand where your answer comes from, because there is no definitive answer at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
I'm still in the process of that.
Right.
And in your opinion, what else is a contributor to the way you perform and the way you use your emotions or don't use your emotions during a fight? For example, your wife in the morning, your breakfast, the audience, the car journey, the referee, your opponent.
Contributing factors for myself, the music that I listen to, anything before that. I don't normally eat on the day of a competition. I don't eat in the morning because I'm usually quite kind of nervy and jittery. I'll have small bites to eat through the day, so I wouldn't say it would affect me, but definitely the music that I've been listening to, the audience is a big factor for me, especially when I started teaching, because then at most competitions when I was competing, I also had students there that were watching me compete, so always increased the pressure a little bit. But I would always try and use that to my advantage, because I knew I could have a lot of noise for me fighting, which always spurred me on a lot more. In terms of the referee, who I'm fighting, that never really mattered, except when I was fighting Chris. No, I wouldn't say it matters. I would always try and maintain the same level of aggression and control, no matter who I was competing against. But I would definitely say contributing factors for me. There are certain things that will affect the level of anger, if you like, when I'm going into the fight. Yes, definitely.
Taking it out of taekwondo slightly, have you taken matters from home? Say you've had a disagreement with your wife. Have you went to a competition and taken that out on somebody? I say your wife, it could be anybody, your boss, your dog.
No, I get you totally. I've had it affect me negatively before. I had a partner before my wife that I'm with just now, and we had argued on the day of a competition, and that was actually the competition where Chris McGilvery beat me, was that day, because it's the first time at a competition that I ever felt like I didn't want to be there. I wasn't in the right mindset at all. So yeah, definitely things like that can affect you.
And back on one of your answers there as well, what music do you listen to? Can you give us some examples of the songs and that you listen to prior to a fight?
Definitely. The sort of music I listen to is a mixture of kind of hip hop and like 90s rap music. I like that kind of old school rap music, and so the likes of like Eminem and stuff like that. But I also like to listen to the bagpipes when I'm training. Pipes and drums, love it. Gets me really riled up.
Now, I know you can see a strange look in my face, and I apologise for that. The bagpipes and drums,
yeah.
How does that work?
Well, I'm quite patriotic. I've always loved it, and any time listening to bagpipes or like that, the pipes and drums, it just sends my heart absolutely racing.
Like, I understand the Eminem or the rap music and things like that. I'm pretty sure a lot of people use similar stuff, but I've never heard of somebody being riled by pipes and drums.
There you go. It's that'll be a first for you. Actually, most people react that way when I tell them that. They're kind of shocked by it.
But don't get me wrong, a lot of people are patriotic and understand, yes, it makes them feel good, etc. But yeah, definitely different for a warm-up for a competition.
There you go. It's something that as soon as I put that in my ears, it puts me into the zone, if you like. Puts me into that mindset where I am ready to fight. So.
That's crazy. Anyway, you'll be glad to know that's actually the last of the questions.
Oh,